Of course, the crowd wants Reed to go for it. Wouldn't be surprised if he did on 4th down and 1.
So, anyways, with that, time's yours.
Welcome to 4th and 1. I'm Tod Palmer, joined by Nick Jacobs. And for the 5th week in a row, man, we've got a victory edition of the podcast here after the latest Chiefs game. I guess 5th time in 6 weeks because there was a bye in there if you want to get technical. But I wasn't at all worried about this game coming in. I thought the Chiefs were the better team, knowing that they were going to be facing a backup quarterback in Arrowhead, coming off the holidays. I just didn't give the Rams much of a chance to compete in this one. And obviously that's kind of the way it turned out, but I was still a little bit surprised at the Chiefs' performance. So having said that, Nick, I want to open by asking you, how was the turducken?
Well, first off, I didn't have a turducken.
Oh no.
I didn't have one. I mean, I had one a couple of years ago. I didn't have one this time. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what Christmas brings. You never know. Maybe Santa Claus will bring a turducken down the chimney. You just never know.
And boom. We got a turducken.
Tough acting to acting. So yeah, no, we'll
hopefully not on your turducken.
No, not on turducken. But I mean, that's what he's known for, saying boom. The Madden video game that he'd been doing since the late 80s, early 90s. And then, like you said, the turducken, tough acting to acting. And I think he did some Ace Value Hardware stuff there for a while. The all Madden team, and Little Giants. You can keep naming it, but I mean, yeah, turducken is like just.
There was a video game that I think was pretty popular too.
Yeah, that's what I said. You just didn't listen. So I mean, par for the course. Par for the course. Todd only listens when he wants to talk.
It has not been a great few days for me from a health standpoint. So
I was letting you have the runway there. I was letting you have the floors. I thought you were going to keep going, and you
no.
You actually exited at a reasonable time. I'm very confused.
I remember seeing all these like memes on like Tuesday, Wednesday that were like, if a toddler relative of yours tries to hand you anything, don't accept it. It's the flu. And then my 1-year-old niece gave me I don't think it was the flu, but gave me some sort of ailment at Thanksgiving.
She's 1 year old, dude. I don't think she can give you anything. I think you just happen to be around her.
Yeah.
Let's not put this evil on her, Tod Palmer.
It was my fault. We were doing like the hand slap game and I did it like on her tray after we ate. So like, knowing that she had been sick and then playing at like the most saliva-ridden place in the house probably was not my best move. It's probably on me. Yeah, it's 100% on me.
Well, don't worry about it, Todd. I feel like you got a lot of bad moves in your lifetime, so it's not up there in the top 5.
I've done some dumb stuff.
Well, Todd, we all have our struggles.
I've done some dumb stuff.
I'll make you do some dumb stuff later, man. I got 2 days off. Who knows? The day is young.
Well, sometime during those 2 days off, we're going to find out that the Chiefs no longer have a Sunday night football game.
Oh wow! You put that evil. 11th. You put that evil out there on our station.
There's no way that they want the Broncos in prime time because they just got whooped by Carolina. There's got to be a better game.
I just want the people at KSHB 41 to know I did not put that evil out there. That is not on me. I did not put that evil out there. But while you talk about it, I will mention the games that are potentially available. Do you want to hear them?
Well, I mean, the New York Jets against the Bills seems like an obvious one, with the Jets being in a somewhat notable media market.
That's one. Do you want to hear the others?
Yeah.
Eagles and Giants, and then Dolphins and Chargers. Those are probably the other 3 that would bring the eyeballs. But yeah, I mean, the kicker of it is like if Mahomes gets flexed out again, Todd started this conversation, not me, for anybody at KSHB 41 that might be listening.
Just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. Sorry, Kathleen.
I'm just saying. I didn't use names, bro. Like, gosh, man. Like, sometimes you gotta learn, bro. You gotta learn, dude. You're out here burning bridges, bro. Don't be that dude. Don't be that dude who does that thing.
Just being honest.
But anyways, I hope our people at KSHB 41 have a great holiday. And,
It's been nice
forgive
working with
Todd. But no, I mean the Eagles Giants would do massive numbers. I think I'm disappointed the Dolphins haven't had the primetime games that I think they deserve. And I mean the kicker of it is the thing I don't know how many each of these teams, how many have hit 6 primetime games, where they've gone past the one. I don't think anybody has. So I think that's fair game because I'm sure the Bills, I'm pretty sure probably either the Eagles or Giants and maybe the Chargers have maxed out the 5 that they can do. So for people that don't know, teams can get 5 games in the schedule. The 6th one has to be flexed in by the league. And then as of right now, that caps off how many a team can have in prime time under the current TV schedule. The 7th one is fair game just simply because it's the final week. So like that, that one doesn't really count against anybody.
Week 17 could be anyone, and
I'm talking like
week 18,
and I'm talking like ESPN Saturday national game, or all those other ones, like those don't count. Now next year in 2023, the new TV schedule starts, and that jumps up from 5 to 7. So that'll go up and that'll expand, and the reason that does is because Monday Night Football is now getting flexed as well. So Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football are probably going to get a lot more marquee playoff games that week 10 through week 18 going down the road after the season ends and the new TV contract technically begins.
Yeah. Regardless, I don't think
that has been prime time with Nick Jacobs.
I'm just saying. I mean, it's hard for me.
It's our new segment, Todd. Let's get it sponsored.
Well, yeah, no, we can try that. Yeah, we can just go through explaining to people, please, what's going on.
This has been Transactions, sponsored by.
It's hard for me to believe that they want to bring any more attention to the Broncos offense than they have to, league wide. I mean, they're historically awful this year.
That's a tough rating.
Right. Let's ride. But look, I mean, like
I see Russell getting in arguments with his defensive tackle on the sidelines.
I mean, what's funny to me though is like they're averaging like barely 14 points a game. It's like I said, historically bad in the modern NFL. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, I mean, like did not play well on offense in any stretch of the imagination. They were they did have 6 red zone trips, but they were 1 for 6 getting touchdowns out of them. Had a red zone turnover. Just not a great performance by the offense, and they still scored 26 and won by 16 points. How concerned are you about the red zone offense though? And what did you see as the problem? Because Mahomes was 3 of 13 for 11 yards with that interception in the end zone. What were they doing to kind of thwart the Chiefs' effectiveness when they got down toward the goal line?
I think a piece of the puzzle, I'm going to call it like it is, and people may not agree with me, and people in the organization may not agree with me if they're listening. They might be. But I felt like watching the Chiefs today was like they knew they were going to win this game. They knew that, that they didn't have to give an A effort to get it done. Some of the play calling, I think they were really trying to work on their run game down in the red zone, and they were going against one of the best run defenses in the NFL, actually the 4th best in the league. So, I think they really wanted to press that issue with Pacheco and see what he was capable of, what Allegretti was capable of, and kind of really try to work on that part of it. And I knew Patrick Mahomes was getting bored when he tried the no-look pass that ended in the interception in the game there. That's whenever I'm like, all right. And then when they tried the trick play where they had Sky Moore, run the jet sweep, then toss back to Mahomes, and Mahomes, Kelsey. Like when the Chiefs are doing that, that's when they've put people on official notice that they're just trying to up the level of the Madden game to just see if they can do some stuff. So
they just want to increase the degree of difficulty for themselves.
Yeah, like they're just trying to have fun with it at this point and put some stuff on tape. But that's when you definitely knew that by their play calling that they knew that game was out of reach too. And Andy wouldn't necessarily try to run up the score on McVay and try to put him in a bad spot and all that type of stuff. So and part of it is, I think, for Chiefs fans, I think Chiefs fans probably get frustrated because, one, they want to see that killer instinct, but two, above everything else, I think people keep trying to chase that 2018 offense, and they're frustrated that that's just not the standard all the time. And there's various reasons that that's not going to be the case, but that's why I'm not as concerned with this game in the red zone, just simply because I knew they weren't exactly putting their ace stuff out there like I think they will do against Cincinnati, though.
Oh, I think that the Cincinnati game means a lot to these guys. And like I said, I think the red zone struggles, like you said, they were apparent today, right? I mean, this is a team that had been third in the NFL in red zone touchdown percentage and had the most red zone touchdowns coming into the game, 31 in the NFL. But like you said, I mean, they made a concerted effort to run Pacheco down there. He had 11 carries, only gained 21 yards. Did have the touchdown on one of them though. But there's a couple other opportunities I think they had to go for it on 4th and goal or 4th and short situations in a game where, they felt like they needed those points. To your point, I think Andy would have been shocked if they had scored more than about 13 or 14 points on his defense, the way that the Rams were playing. The Rams only had 198 total yards. So there was really no reason to rub it in or run it up after the Chiefs got to 20, got up 20-3 there early in the third quarter. Let's discuss Pacheco though, because, this is 3 weeks in a row. They've given him at least 15 carries, 22 carries for 69 yards today. Just a shade over 3 yards a carry. I did have a big catch, and to me it was promising, right? Because it was a little bit of a shake route, a little bit of an option route, and he and Mahomes were on the same page going down the middle, and it went for a big gain. What are you seeing from Pacheco now that we've seen him in a get a lot of reps over a bit of an extended period of time here? Do you like what you're seeing as he continues to develop?
I'll be curious to see what he's able to do come playoff time. I like that he's getting these reps and getting to experience the NFL defenses and kind of going against the top level defense like he did in the Rams. I thought that was good for his development and his growth. The pass play itself, I mean, look, he understands. I think he understands where his skill set's at. I think he understands where he gets maximum speed, and that's when he's going north-south in a straight line direction and occasionally having some short, choppy steps, but not trying to get too wild with his juke moves, and trying to get out of what his ability is. Now, what I do think was happening, and today was a really, really big sign for his teammates and also for everybody else, was the Rams were headhunting him. They're in that third and especially that fourth quarter there. Like Bobby Wagner and them were trying to lay him out because I could tell they didn't like how hard he was running and how physical he was being. So they wanted to send a message, and they tried to take him out of that game with some of those hits that they were doing and the late hit on the sidelines and that. They were going after him to see if they could kind of calm him down, and he kept popping back up and kept bringing that same effort and that same energy. And I think that went a long way with his teammates, and I think that was big for him, as he talked about in the post game. That was important to him to try to continue to not be fazed by it. And I thought that was more than anything else. I thought that was one of the bigger steps he got to take today, and one of the bigger opportunities to really kind of deal with one of those welcome to the NFL moments, and still kind of keep saying, all right, I'm ready for more.
Yeah, he had a big got popped really big inside the 5 there, I think in the fourth quarter, and made a point to get right back up and make sure that the Rams knew that he wasn't fazed by it. But honestly, the 1 for 6 on red zone touchdowns wasn't the bigger issue to me. I thought the fact that the Chiefs were only 5-11 on third down was a bigger issue. I know the Rams are decent defense, maybe even underrated. A lot of people don't, given how poor their record is, 3-8 at this point in the season. I don't maybe haven't paid attention to the fact that the Rams defense is still pretty good. So, I mean, the Chiefs the Chiefs were able to move the ball between the 20s fairly well, but you would like to see them be a little bit more efficient. And typically they are more efficient than that 5-11 performance. Having said that, they were down a starting lineman with Nick Allegretti in there at left guard. Aaron Donald got a couple tackles and a quarterback hit on the first drive. He had one tackle after that. The only other time he touched Patrick Mahomes was when he got the sack that was erased by his own face mask penalty. I really thought that Allegretti and that interior offensive line settled in really, really well after that opening drive and played about as well as you could hope moving forward in that one.
Yeah, I'll be curious to watch the coaches film and see what they did and how what they did adjustment-wise and strategy-wise with it. And another part of it is, man, I mean, the way those ends were screaming off the edge with Floyd and then 97, like they were coming hard upfield. And I know Orlando Brown was having some trouble. Wiley was having trouble. And that's what was flushing Mahomes. And I think that disrupted a lot of that passing offense today and also kind of limited what they did on some of those third downs in the red zone when Mahomes was having to move around. The goal of today was for Mahomes not to get hit, and they were able to accomplish that. But man, the Rams made him uncomfortable in that pocket today. And as I've said before, that Chiefs offense goes as the offensive line protection goes, and especially off the edges with the tackles, they determine how long Pat's going to stay in that pocket. And so I think that's part of the reason they had a lot of the hiccups that they did today. Personally, it doesn't mean that they get a sack every time. But if he sees a certain level of speed going behind him to where he can't see, he's not always the most comfortable person in the world with it, and I totally get it.
Yeah, and look, again, that's one of the better defensive lines that you're going to see, anchored by one of the better defensive tackles in the history of the NFL. So no shame in having some struggles there. I think the Chiefs knew that they might have some struggles there, but I think all in all they played well. But I'll tell you what, the defense continues to impress. I'm struggling to fight this idea that this game was a mirage, though, because Bryce Perkins is not the caliber of quarterback that they're going to face most weeks. Although I was very impressed with his legs and his toughness and his tenacity and the things he could do running the football. But from a passing standpoint, and especially with some of the play, Cooper Kupp's out, Allen Robinson didn't play. They're obviously missing a lot of weapons in that passing game. I know the Chiefs defense gave up 198 yards, but are you seeing enough from them to think that to believe that this is legitimately becoming one of the best defenses of the NFL, or are you just not sold yet?
I think Cincinnati Bengals will answer a lot of those questions.
Even without Jamar Chase, if he can't go?
With or without, it's going to answer a lot of the questions because they're facing Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is going to if you give him the opportunities, he'll slice and dice you in that run game, depending on what Mixon can do and Perrine, and then obviously with Higgins, and so it'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs perform next week because the Titans had a tough day against the Bengals today. So it'll be very interesting to see what the Chiefs can accomplish and do, and what type of effort level they'll put out against the Bengals for keeping them out of the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah. How much do you think those two losses of the Bengals last January, the regular season and then the AFC Championship game, influenced the Chiefs' decision to go a different direction with the offense?
It has a ton to do with it.
Right. I mean, let's just explore that, because I don't know if people realize that. I think it was those two losses of the Bengals that told the Chiefs front office and the Chiefs coaching staff, we need to change. It is not sustainable for us to keep playing this way on offense and keep this championship window open.
I think that's part of it, but the other part of it that they still haven't really kind of mastered yet is, that run game part of it. Because the Bengals are rushing three and dropping everybody else in the zone. I mean, the Chiefs, if the Bengals do that, I'm curious to see what kind of answers the Chiefs are going to give in that run game. and then the potential screen game and that type of stuff. How are you going to handle it if the Bengals try all that stuff again? And, like the Bengals are going to throw some new things at them. And we'll see how the Chiefs adjust to it. But this game coming up here, I mean, it's very big in terms of giving the Chiefs a sneak peek of what they're going to face playoff caliber-wise in the playoffs against the defense and some of the wrinkles that may be thrown at it, even if they aren't one of the, top 5 defenses in the NFL.
No, they're not. But I mean, there aren't a lot of tests left on the Chiefs.
I'm telling you, the Bengals are the big one, just simply because they're actually, when I was running the rankings for all the playoff teams and everything that we had on the show on Counting Down to Kickoff this morning, the Bengals were actually the most balanced of the playoff teams in terms of overall rankings for run and pass on both sides of the ball and points per game. So that's why I'm really intrigued to see what the Chiefs do against the Bengals. Well,
and they're one of the key, red zone offense is something that caught my attention in part because the Bengals are one of the teams that have more, or that are a more efficient red zone offense than the Chiefs. They were ranked, I think, first in the NFL. The Chiefs were third in red zone percentage. But beyond that, I mean, the Chiefs have the Seahawks on Christmas Eve, the Broncos twice, the Texans, and the Raiders. So there just aren't a lot of tests there, which is great if you think about, the Chiefs' hopes for the number 1 seed in the playoffs, right? Maybe not great for getting them sharpened as they go into the playoffs. Although I suspect with the experience the last several years, that may be less of an issue for the Chiefs than it would be for some other teams in the NFL.
Then they also got the past 11 weeks. So I mean,
right. No, I mean the beginning of the season definitely did, and I think, I also think if you have to pick between, if you're the Chiefs, pick between, kind of growing into the season with a tough schedule and really finding out who you are, and then getting a chance to kind of I don't want to say cruise into the playoffs, but getting a chance to maybe getting a Texans game in there or something like that, where you don't, where you can kind of, at least take, if your C game is going to carry the day still, may not be the worst thing in the world. I just don't see this team getting complacent. I do want to ask, special teams, like, first of all, should Sky Moore ever return a punt again for the Chiefs?
I mean, I wouldn't put him back there again in the 2022-2023 season. That's just not him fielding punts. It's a struggle for him. And I don't think he's the biggest fan of getting hit. So I just don't think that that's the road to go down to put him through success. But what I will say is, like,
I really wish Tony was healthy, because I think Kadarius Toney could thrive in that role.
Yeah.
Or McCole Hardman Jr. Anyone. There's options on the roster. They're just not healthy.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't disagree with you on any of that. It's just, they keep trying it, and, it keeps being a struggle, but they keep trying it and putting themselves in holes with it. And the kicker of it is, I mean, Dave Toub at this point, like, there's a lot of flaws on special teams. And at some point, if they don't get it right, like, it's going to cost them in the playoffs when it actually matters. So, I mean, and I mean, Dave Toub's been here for a decade now almost. So, I mean, at this point,
they gave up the fourth down conversion too on the fake punt pass.
Yeah, the team caught him out to lunch on that one. So, like, and like, I mean, you can blame it on rookies and first year guys and not having all these core special teamers, but there's a lot of teams that don't have core special teamers and don't have as many on the roster as the Chiefs do. Like, they have a portion of the roster dedicated for special teams that other teams don't give that luxury to, that they prefer more developmental guys for position. So, I mean, Dave Toub does, in my opinion, he does get a lot more on the roster than others do, to where I'm not going to keep buying the excuses. I'm about done with them. The excuses, that is.
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, Dave Toub, unquestionably one of the best special teams coaches in NFL history. This is unquestionably one of the worst special teams performances I've seen the Chiefs have since he's been the coach. So, but we'll see. I mean, fortunately, outside of the Indianapolis game, I don't think it's cost them a game yet, but you just hope it doesn't at the wrong time. So anyway, anything else you want to add here? Now that we're leaving people on such an up note?
I mean, look, I mean, the Chris Jones was a monster today. He wrecked a lot of people. He hung out in the backfield. He had a timeshare back there. Karlaftis was able to get that sack, and L'Jarius Sneed had a couple good blitzes, but he wasn't used to dealing with somebody that fast when he's screaming off the edge like that. He had to take it a little bit wider a couple times, and he didn't. And he got to learn the speed that Perkins had. So
Chris Jones, by the way, it surprises me. This is only his second 10-sack season. He's had 3 other seasons where he got 9 sacks, but this is only the second time he's got to 10 sacks in his career.
When was the other year that he got to 10?
I believe it was 2018.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember how that year ended, Nick.
I was just double checking when the contract years were.
Well, fair point. But also, the last time he had over 10 sacks, you had to buy a replica Lombardi trophy. Or no, that was the year before that. Yeah. So
I don't know. I just know whenever somebody's about getting that next contract, they seem to crank it up to 11. And
do you think? I don't know if he can get to 15.5. That's his career record, is 15.5 in 2018. I don't know if he can get there, but it'll be worth watching.
I don't know, Todd. You said they're playing a lot of teams that struggle.
They are playing some trash teams, man. They got he's got a chance.
He might get there. So I mean, don't discredit him. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he gives that type of production. That's fantastic. But I also am aware that like a decision's got to be made on that contract next year, whether to extend or have to adjust accordingly in some ways. And I think he is aware of that too. And he's gonna have to put out he's putting out a strong performance this year, a dominant performance that justifies that number.
I mean, I think he's clearly the best player on that defense right now.
And I think he wants to make sure that people are aware of that.
He is the straw that stirs the drink.
And he's going to make sure that people are aware of that, which I'm not complaining one bit. He's one of the 3 most important people on that roster right now. And as long as he continues to produce the way that he is, that won't be changing anytime soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, you're one of the 2 most important people on this podcast. So I just wanted to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, sir.
It already happened, Todd. Like you literally already experienced it a handful of days ago.
Okay, well, fine. Merry Christmas.
Todd, it hasn't happened yet, man.
No, I can't win with you. I can't. If it's already happened, I can't win. If it hasn't happened, I can't win.
We all have our struggles, Todd.
I'm going to go to Wendy's now. All right. Well, Nick, I bid you adieu, sir.
Oh, we're just.
I'm going to trample all over your line. No, you don't get to
we're
say your
taking
line.
catchphrases left and right. Is that what's hot in the streets? Hope you know you have to pay me royalties for that.
That's right. I'm over here doing a little Uzi Vert dance like Pacheco did when he scored his touchdown. Hopefully I don't pull anything. Hopefully you guys.
If I remembered your catchphrase, then I would stomp all over it right now and just wreck it. But
but you didn't. So take care, kids.